I caught her cheating and forgave her. Similar stories? I caught him cheating, and I forgave him. It took a while, of course, to gather myself from the situation, but I came back stronger and wiser from it. I wouldn't want to live through that heck of betrayal again, but the experience has helped me put things in perspective. In particular, I learned the true value and importance of intrinsic values in a relationship. I would like to think that money will never be a big factor in my future relationships. My ex and I would spend insane amounts of dollars every time a birthday, anniversary, V-Day, etc. would come around. But for what? There was no real respect, trust, or intimacy in our relationship. So, I came out of that breakup realizing that I no longer need, or even want, diamond rings or expensive clothes. None of those things really matter when it boils down to it. I just desire companionship. I don't think that's too much to ask for, is it? We're friends now, and that's how I like it. Even though he cheated on me, it doesn't mean that I am any better, or that he is an evil person. We're all flawed human beings trying to make it in this world. Nice guys are hard to come by, and finding one who's compatible with you is even harder, but I still have hope in the future for me only because I was able to forgive both him and myself for what happened. I had a girl cheat on me and it started out quite similarly. We were together for years, had plans for the future, etc. Got the call one day and I have something to tell you and you're going to hate me, which is, by the way, a potential form of emotional abuse. She revealed to me what had happened and I was seriously but after cooling off I called back the same day and forgave her. Perhaps the difference is I decided to get back together with her, because I just couldn't stand the thought of being without her. She ended up cheating on me 5 or 6 more times. At the time I thought the first 4 or 5 weren't really cheating because she'd break up with me for a day or two to hook up with some guy and then call me crying in the next couple days telling me she knew I'd hate her but blah blah and she really wanted to be with me. Eventually when she called to say we should break up again I just said okay and it stayed that way. I forgave her for hurting me, though, and let her lean on me for emotional support for the next 6 months that she spent with an abusive new boyfriend. This was because she was dangling the hope that we could get back together in front of me as a carrot. Once I finally realized how absolutely moronic I was being, which I had not done in spite of my friends telling me to my face constantly how moronic I was being, I gave that up. I told her we needed to stop talking and after a while, and a new, better girlfriend, I was comfortable talking to her again but refused to be more than casual instant messaging friends. Now, even though she has acknowledged how much she used me she doesn't understand why I don't want to be real friends with her. I basically wish I had been harsher on her because she just didn't get it. It so happens that her usual type is domineering buttholes so she never got the chance to trample someone like my old self again, but I have no doubt she would have without a second thought. I don't agree with the more immature parts of the other dude's method. Insinuating he had cheated too, insinuating he had an STD, jerking off in her face cream, spitting in her drink, but sometimes calling up just how messed up their actions have been is a long-term satisfying course of action and I wouldn't say it is always reprehensible. I'd also discount the fake ring as it is simply not necessary, and I'm no good at lying. But the general idea of showing her how much your relationship meant to you and then breaking it off doesn't strike me personally as immature, and it is not a given that he will regret this in the future. Some people never get it. Seriously, if you get one of the people who is actually detached from reality in some way, like borderline personality disorder or a lot of the other abusive personalities, it is literally impossible to get through to them. When you love someone, you don't want revenge, you want understanding. I was just sad. It's really amazing how true this is. Although my situation is slightly different, I experience the distance forming and then the huge bomb dropping. I have to say your statement summed up everything perfectly. Dang it. Someone sprinkled habanero on my keyboard again. My eyes are all itchy. Jalapeno. Habanero. Having been cheated on, I personally would never, ever do it to anyone else, and honestly the level of selfishness and cowardliness involved in the decision makes my mind reel. It doesn't happen on accident. People take days, or months, and keep making the decision to throw your trust away and damage your very ability to trust and relate to others to the greatest extent they can, all for their own gratification. They go to bed, over and over again, with this knowledge sitting in their mind. They think about it all the time, and make the conscious decision to frick your world up. Forgive her or not, maybe she can't help who she is, or whatever. It's undeniable that it is a poisonous way to behave though, and that it makes the world a worse place to live. I don't know why you would keep someone that dangerous and self-centered in your life. I cheated on a girlfriend with another girl I knew while on vacation, then admitted it to the girlfriend when I got back and then ended our relationship because I felt like dirt for doing it. I didn't ask for forgiveness. I didn't ask her to take me back. I didn't feel like I deserved any of that. Point being, not all cheaters are heartless. I have convictions and I still feel bad about cheating to this day. If I ever cheated again, I don't know how I'd handle it. I could barely deal with myself the first time. I've had 2 relationships since, as well as one that has been continuing for almost 3 years now. Cheating made me realize where my priorities were and now I'm a better person because of it. Do I regret it? Sure, but I owe who I am now to who I was then. I caught her cheating and forgave her. Was a big man, handled it maturely, was understanding. Then she admitted to me, a year or so later, another affair she was having. Once more, I handled that like a pro, listened to her concerns, talked through it, really understood where she was coming from. Later, we got married. That was great, until out of the blue, she left me for someone with whom she was cheating on me. If I could go back and change that decision to forgive her and be understanding and listen to her, I would without the slightest hesitation. I sure as heck wouldn't stay with her, knowing what I know now. Since then, I've had a zero tolerance policy for it, and have been much happier. The few times it's been an issue, I haven't looked back, and many years on now, I've never regretted it. To boil it down, when you have standards, you attract a better quality of person. Every girlfriend I've had except one has cheated on me, and I forgave them all and was subsequently dumped a month or 2 afterwards. Every time. Oh, the one that didn't cheat on me? She dumped me 2 days ago. Valentine's Day. Mother. You can only forgive from a position of power, otherwise you're just a wimp. Cheating is a Darwinian FKU. It's too serious to be docile about it. If I caught my husband cheating, that would be it for us. We have an understanding that if either of us cheat, the marriage is over. No counseling, no therapy, just divorce. Standards, you have them. High five. My ex-girlfriend cheated on me at 6 months with an ex of hers while drunk. Eventually, I took her back and forgave her, even made efforts to rebuild the trust she destroyed. Then she slept with him again 6 months later, after breaking up with me by phone so it wouldn't be cheating a few minutes before the fact. Then she tried to claim she was taken advantage of a few weeks later when I came home to make the breakup formal. Cheating once I could forgive. Do it again, you're dead to me. And yet I still don't believe once a cheater, always a cheater. She's been with the same guy since. Infidelity free. As far as you know. My first long-term girlfriend was dating someone else when we started dating. I found out later but believed that what we had was something special and that she had just made a mistake with him. I dated her for 2 years and finally got suspicious that she was cheating on me, as she had the previous boyfriend. I confronted her, but again, since I wanted to live in some fairy tale world where bad people can reform, so I accepted her lies. I caught her cheating 2 weeks later. I ended it there. We went our separate ways and she went to a different college. Over a Christmas break, she came home and we started hanging out and fool around again. She admitted that she had recently gotten engaged. It was just a meaningless hookup for me, but I felt bad for the guy on the other end, as I had been in his position a few years before. That was 3 years ago, and I hadn't heard from her until Christmas this year. Her husband had just left for boot camp and she wanted to rekindle our relationship. I said no as I have developed standards and she got pee. Bottom line, cheaters will always cheat. Period. There is no changing their ways. People who stay with cheaters are too weak to do what they should and leave. Dude, you should tell her husband what despicable cheating H that chick is. The guy is going to be in Iraq or Afghanistan and she's going to be smoking other dudes' poles. Do that poor sucker a solid. You know, in comparing both of these stories, I can see both sides. On the side of revenge, it takes a man to really stand up for themselves like that and take things into their own hands. On the other side, I believe it takes quite a bit of courage and manliness to be forgiving. And props to the girl in this story for at least being honest. You, sir, are a truly great individual. The girl in this story wasn't honest. She only revealed all when confronted. If she was honest, she would have told him what was going on right away, instead of lying to him for months. In cases like this, omission of the truth is just as bad as outright lying. At the risk of a flurry of down votes, I'll be honest, I'm having a hard time with this forgiveness of cheating thing. Or, at least, forgiveness and remaining close friends. Let me tell you why. Cheating is one of the most despicable possible things one person can do to another person. It's a blatant betrayal of trust. Something you do to someone you neither love nor respect. If you're in so deep over a girl that you want to continue a friendly relationship with her, that's fine. But realize that she has already proven that she doesn't think much of you and that you're opening yourself up to further betrayal and humiliation. From her point of view, she did her worst and you came back. You are now her tool to use or discard as she pleases. Truth. I never understand how cheaters can continue on normally in their relationships, all the while knowing what they know. It's got to be going through their head constantly, and that being the case, it seems obvious they don't give two shoots about what they're doing to their partner. Got cheated on, a lot, for years on end. Didn't know. When she ended our marriage, I tried to get her to come back. She almost did, but chose the other guy at the last moment. That's when I learned there was another guy. That's nice if that works for you, but I have never cheated, never will, and I expect the same level of respect and self-control from my partner. I caught my girlfriend cheating once, but I actually did it pretty cleverly. Let's just say that she was overseas, and I spent a couple years in the military working on some fairly classified technology used for keeping tabs on particular individuals. Clever stuff that's actually pretty easy to build if you know where to get the right parts and have the know-how. Anyway, she took a couple weeks off to go to Europe with her girlfriends, and it's like heck that's ever totally innocent. So the first thing I did was proc her. Goddamn it, I should really start looking at usernames before I read long comments. Hop off your high horse, bro. Did you get a call and hear your girl in foreplay with another man? Did you see your girl slurping another man's tube steak? Did you have to see her, unrepentant, for a week after that, and did you have to pretend that everything was fine until you decided what course of action to take? Number. You got a phone call. A respectful, non-graphic, repentant phone call. That is worlds different from seeing your unrepentant lover in the act. You did well, being mature about your situation, but your situation is not the same as the one you say you are disheartened by. I read that other guy's story, and this is where you nail him to the cross when you love someone. You don't want revenge, you want understanding. Amen. I once cheated on the woman who is my wife today. I told her about 1 year into our relationship, 8 years ago, that I had cheated on her, and she broke down and cried and begged me to never do it again. I explained that I was simply an butthole with no real excuse. She understood, hugged me and forgave me for my actions. If the shoe would have been on the other foot, then I would have gotten my revenge. I just couldn't believe any person on earth would really forgive someone for something so cruel. That day she taught me that someone on earth loves me for everything that I am, good and bad. I will never again take that for granted by the very person who had every right, in my mind, to take their own cold revenge. We're happier now more than ever with kids and all. I thank God every day for her. She is my angel, always. You walk on her, she stays, begs you to not walk on her, yet she's a keeper. That's soulful, man. You have my respect. You acted like an adult. I totally understand one's desire to get revenge on an unfaithful GFBF spouse, but in the end, you'll still have a broken heart and a bruised ego. Getting revenge, to me, is dangerous territory. In the heat of the moment, vengeful people can do some pretty horrendous things. It's just not worth it. With time, the horror of the event, especially cheating, will fade. People go on with their lives. Everyone has the power to get revenge. It takes a mature person to forego their impulses and take the high road. When you think about it, if someone is cheated on, they're really pissed off that their partner gave in to temptation and intentionally hurt them. Revenge is very similar. We let our immediate emotion get the better of us. In one situation, anger wins out. In the other, lust wins out. How can we hold others to a standard that we can't live up to when the pressure is on? I think that people who repeatedly forgive their partners for cheating have something akin to battered wife syndrome. If someone is so willing to cheat, it obviously means they couldn't care less about you. It's not about revenge or being angry, but about not wanting to spend any of the short time you have on this planet with someone who treats you like crap. I suggest erasing them from your life entirely. No forgiveness, no lingering anger, just an empty void where they used to be. I don't ever take cheating personally. It's not a personal thing for me. She cheats, I walk. Very simple. No harm done. I don't hate or feel I have to forgive. She just had an interest for someone else. That's enough to call it a day. The difference is that I never have the urge to stay friends. So I just move on. Literally. It's great that you feel that way, and it would make things easier for everyone if we all had that same feeling. The problem is, most people get a lot more emotionally vested in other people, themselves or inanimate objects to be able to just walk away. Most people just can't let go that easily. In the end, it's what makes us all individuals. She cheated. I forgave her. I got her pregnant. She had an abortion without telling me. I did not forgive her. She married. He cheated. I laughed. I guess I'll share my story. When I was about 22, I was dating this hot girl in the tech industry. She was super cool and we got along well. She was more of the geeky executive type and I was more of the engineer type. The sex was hot and often, like mind-numbingly often. She moved down the street so we could see each other easily. This seemed like a good step before moving in together. I can't remember if I was in love or not. We ended up dating for 6 months or so. One weekend she abruptly says she's going out of town for the weekend. It was a bit strange, but I trusted her. After she comes back, it's a bit weird for a few days, but things go back to normal. During this time she talks about marriage a lot. When will we get married? She's pummeling with me with ETA on when she thinks we'll get married. I told her that I don't want to get married and can't see myself going down that path. The sex is still great, so I assume everything is going well. She's all over me. We're spending 4-5 hours a day together. Then the bombshell hits. Her previous boyfriend had proposed to her. She said yes. Her previous boyfriend was an butthole. One time she cut her finger and he refused to take her to the hospital because he was busy playing Xbox or something. She just wanted to get married at any cost. She had said she was marrying him but still fricking me. It was a total mind frick for me. Took me forever to get over it. I had nightmares about her. In some of these dreams she was murdering people. Anyway, a few months down the road I'm at a party and she's there. She shows up. 8 months pregnant. Hit me like a ton of fricking bricks. I almost vomited and had to sit down. I did the math. Couldn't be mine. Still scared the crap out of me. Upvoted for this line. I can't remember if I was in love or not. Deep, man. Just partially related, in The Red Queen Matt really explains how cheating wives tend to be more fertile when they are with their lover instead of their husband, both in the timing of the intercourse in relation to their cycle and in the type of orgasm they have. From an evolution point of view, the best scenario, for a woman, is to have a caring husband who will take care of the kids' welfare, and a sexy beast lover who will give good genes to the kids. So yeah, you shouldn't cheat, but if you do, just know that evolution wants you to be pregnant with your affair, so you might want to put some extra attention about that. Personally, I'm very binary in who I trust. It's either 1 or 0. Good on you for forgiving. It makes me uneasy just reading that. I am not sure I would be able to react the same way, even if I chose to. But as long as you are happy with your decision, that is what matters most. I am glad you are not still with her though. It is good that you are friends. But once you break that trust and bond, there is no going back from that. If my girlfriend cheated on me, I would never speak to her again. If you want to be with someone else, fine. I'll be upset, but I'll get over it as long as you talk to me honestly and break up on good terms. If you go behind my back, you've betrayed me. This story about the previous story about the man getting revenge on his cheating girlfriend are different. You can't compare apples to oranges. You were in a long distance relationship. This kind of stuff happens all of the time. She also confessed you to, without really any prying. The OP of the post you were talking about, they seem to be living in the same town. Despite what people think, there is a large difference in my humble opinion. The OP of the post you were talking about gave her a chance to confess, and she did not. She continued to lie to his face. Also, your girlfriend was pregnant. I like to think this drastically changes the circumstances. I would like to think the OP of the original post would have not taken the revenge he did if his girlfriend was having a baby. Completely different stories. I caught my other cheating, and while I was a bit upset, it turned me on. A lot. I've spent years since trying to figure out why I react like that. I seem to have a reverse priorities thing. If she had sex with someone else, I was more annoyed at not being involved as opposed to her going behind my back. I also realized that I'd be much more upset at her simply spending time with someone else, and try as I might. If I think of her going for it with another dude, it just gets me going. It's not like I want to get rid of her, or that I'm bored with her, and she hasn't exactly made a habit of it either. Should I make a separate post for this, so that Reddit can help me figure it out? I think you summed it up best with, when you love someone, you don't want revenge, you want understanding. I was just sad. I've been there and felt the same pain, but I never really wanted to get back at them for it. It just sucks. You were in a LDR. You and she aren't together now. You didn't catch her blowing a guy, and she was honest with you. You can't compare the two. She and I are not together. That trust is broken. However, I retained a friend, had a great life lesson, as did she. How good a friend could she be? She fricked some dude and is pregnant with his kid. That doesn't scream friend to me. You kept someone around who can be an okay friend at times while risking your overall emotional health. Besides, how do you explain this relationship to other SOS? Yeah, that's my ex who got knocked up by this dude. Yeah, we still talk. Not only did I forgive her, it turned me on. Now she has multiple BFs and I not only tolerate it, I encourage it. It's a total turn on knowing my lady is getting shafted by a big huge piece of man meat. She even does it with 2 guys at once sometimes. All safe sex, of course. I would have told her that I'd forgive her and we could still have a future. If she gets an abortion, I would of course dump her after the abortion. Okay, I have 2 sides of this story. I caught my wife riding another guy in our spare room on Father's Day morning, covered in her own blood. I lost her at a rave on night, found her a distance away walking with some guy, followed them to his tent, watched them make out and then walked away when they started to undress. Went to propose to her, found out she'd been seeing someone for months. Found out she slept with someone from her work 3 weeks before we got married. I moved past it each time, and stayed with her, as we had a daughter together. You look at your child, and you feel what you feel, and you suck it up. As far as I'm aware, forgiveness is a nice concept, but I'm not sure humans are really capable of it. So she cheated on me many times, and after a period of years I in turn cheated on her. I think she cheated because she needed the ego boost. She was always overweight, and especially after the baby, I cheated back out of spite, and the need to feel masculine again, and because I've always had a way with crazy hot women. But that's not even the other side of the story. I introduced my childhood friend, 2 decades we had known each other, to a girl from our social circle. They hit it off, had a baby, together, and got married. I was best man. My wife and I had broken up, and the social circle got together for the 30th birthday for the maid of honor at my wedding. I was avoiding everyone as I was still kind of raw from the bust up, and kinda brushed past the girl I was best man for in a corridor. She put her hand on my chest and said, "Do you hate me or something?" I said, "No, I love you," in the way that I have always done to the select group of girls in our circle who have known me for many years. As I say it, I feel it. The real deal. I brushed off again, and spent many months idly wondering how it was that I was in love with someone in the way that I was without any understandable cause. By chance we ended up out together one night due to last minute cancellations. Much drink later, we find out the feeling is mutual. Did I mention she was my ex's best friend? We don't sleep together out of respect, but we start spending time together. I move overseas for 2 years rather than do that to a best friend. 2 months into it she leaves her guy to come be with me. So, I've been both guys when it comes these situations. To the guys who forgave but still dumped the girl, that's not forgiveness. It's some kind of fiendish need to use your martyr status to torture someone. You man up and take it, or you bail. It seems to me mostly that you two deserve each other, really. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.